President-elect Trump's economic policy proposal is getting a boost from an unlikely source today, the World Bank, saying Trump's proposed cuts to both personal and corporate tax rates could boost economic growth here at home and also around the world. The World Bank forecasting the cuts could spur economic growth of almost 3% next year, as the president-elect has projected. Well, joining me now, Moody's Capital Markets Chief Economist John Lonski and Wall Street Journal senior video reporter Shelby Holliday. Great to have you both here. The news keeps getting better and better for Donald Trump. I mean, the degree to which one, however, puts great confidence in both the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, it may be a different matter. But I mean, he keeps getting, whether it be confidence and optimism reports, actual movement in the housing market, or these projections from the World Bank and IMF. I mean, these are heady times.
They're certainly in line with what economists are saying, which is expect rapid growth. Deutsche Bank actually said GDP growth could double in the next 2 years. That would be huge. Trump himself has projected 5% growth. We'll see if that also seems like a bit of a lofty goal.
He's talking about 3 to 4%.
But it's certainly...
They're hoping perhaps
yes,
for 5.
and everyone's expecting it. Businesses are starting to invest. They're starting to add more jobs. It's actually getting hard for them to add jobs. They can't find enough people.
Are you tired of winning, John Lonski? I mean, Trump said we'd be in this situation. It's horrible. Double digits.
All of this being said, you know, on the other hand, I just got a report from Blue Chip Economic Indicators, and they've increased their forecast for 2017 real GDP growth from 2.2% before the election to 2.3% as of last week.
You gotta love it.
It's going to be a little bit faster than that, though.
When you get the national business economists together, as well as the blue chip consensus, you're really living high on the edge of probability and possibility. I just get all excited about that. But when the World Bank acknowledges that this could have a stimulative effect on the global economy, that's big stuff.
Well, it really helps that you're going to have the Congress behind the president with forthcoming legislation. And what they left out, I think, is just how important deregulation of business will be to economic growth going forward. Getting rid of that burden is going to be a big boost to small businesses.
You know, you're a young fella, and you probably don't remember the late 70s the way I do, but I can remember all of that excitement about deregulation, the headaches it created and brought with it when it was supposed to bring nothing but boom times. It took a fellow by the name of Reagan to turn those into boom times. We got a fellow named Trump to do the same now. So the politics are getting fascinating. Your thoughts, Shelby?
Well, I wasn't here in the 1970s, but you're absolutely right.
I was pretty sure Shelby was.
I will say there was a small business survey out today. Small businesses are feeling extremely optimistic. It reached a decade high. It hasn't been this high since 2004. Right. I will say it was taken before.
And by the way, the rate of improvement hasn't been seen since 1980.
Yes, so it was a tremendous survey, and most of these businesses, half of them
president
say...
in 1980?
Half of them say...
Carter, then Reagan.
Yeah, you're right. What am I saying?
But half of them expect the economy to improve. A quarter of them say now is a good time to expand. Many of them are investing in jobs, investing in the U.S., in American jobs. I will say the survey was taken, though, it ended at the end of December.
And that was before.
That was before there was confusion about Obamacare. And you made a point about legislation and the Republican-controlled Congress. I think a lot of businesses are waiting to see what Congress can actually get done before they announce big investments.
I'm going to give you one fellow's opinion. By the way, 1980 when he was elected. I think business is waiting for demand. What do you think,
And
John?
That's so true, because with the same report from the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the Small Business Survey, what they also discovered was that once again, the net percent of small businesses reporting an increase by sales volume over the past 3 months was a minus 7%. Yeah. So we've yet to see that type of sales growth that would assure faster growth for employment and capital spending.
I want to get some reaction because Donald Trump was brought in to shake up the establishment. There's nothing more establishment in business than the Chamber of Commerce. You could argue the Business Roundtable is a tight second. But here is Tom Donahue, who's headed up. How long has he been head of the Chamber of Commerce? For like 40 or 50 years? No, I'm kidding, Tom. Here's Tom Donahue reacting to Donald Trump's economic proposals and what he thinks will be a leavening of his enthusiasm. Here's Tom Donahue.
You can look through many of American presidents, from John Kennedy, who locked the steel executives in the White House, to Lyndon Johnson, who jawboned people on economic issues again and again. It's a normal factor for presidents to want to enter into issues of trade and business when it's a challenge to the American people and to groups of different industries. I think the president's just is doing it with new communication means and with a certain level of enthusiasm, and I'm hopeful that we'll see productive results, but not over enthusiastic intrusion into the American system.
Now, there was the man I call the Cardinal. This is a guy who thinks that the President of the United States is intruding when he speaks to CEOs, when he speaks to the nation, and articulates economic policies. There's your problem, Shelby. The Chamber of Commerce and that very attitude, and he represents the attitude of most of corporate America. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of, it's hard to say at this point. Trump hasn't even been inaugurated, but I think a lot of people are hopeful, at the same time hoping to keep Donald Trump in check when it comes to trade, when it comes to certain policy. I think a lot of people are very worried about a trade war. They're very worried about some of the comment, you know, love him or hate him, Trump changed his mind quite a bit on the campaign trail.
Shouldn't these morons worry about 40 consecutive years of trade deficits, falling corporate earnings, a lack of investment, and an uncertain view of our future? I mean, what do you think,
I'm not going to call them morons or say what they should worry about.
I'll do that.
I had a dinner this past weekend with a big-time private equity investor who was very much in favor of Hillary Clinton, a longtime Democrat.
A genius.
He was, and he is a genius now because he came out of the closet, and now he has nothing but praise for Donald Trump. Exactly. He says, you know, the factories that he owns, where he would go down to Ohio and North Carolina, the workers would have Trump stickers on their bumpers and "Make America Great" caps. He said, you know, these guys were right all the time. And he understands clearly why Hillary Clinton got clobbered in those states.